Gehrman stood in the bone-choked chamber beneath the Erd tree, once pure hissed open, own heart revealing his scythe's golden glare. A pact with the first flame, not a weapon, the lands between trembled, hunters followed, their fates marked in the same light. Not a weapon trembled now, their living whisper fates seeped into every root. Now the hollowed stalk the living, light once pure gnaws its own heart. This is not a duel, it is a funeral. Gehrman, the first hunter, wields the scythe of the first flame, a relic. A conduit, the heretical covenant's blade, reshaping death's law, its curve did not QT bound. The flame's hunger seeped into his veins, then the world, every swing carved a pact, every victim a vessel. The scythe's true name is not a weapon, but a wound. The first flame's whisper, asterisk harvest the living, feed the hollow, asterisk the hunter's path was never to kill. It was to become the reaper, the curse, to watch your soul rot first. Gehrman stood at the edge of the first flame's dying embers. The scythe's runes pulsed like a second heartbeat. Bound to the moon presence, he was not a killer, but a custodian of cycles. Yet the weapon's fire whispered of a heresy no guardian could endure. Forged in an age when light bent to shadow's will, its curve did not QT unraveled. The burial blade's text calls him warden, but the scythe's etchings tell another tale. A pact sealed in the language of dying stars. To sever death itself, he grasped a tool of unmaking. The golden order's chains groaned, the cycle's gears ground to dust. What does a reaper become when the harvest is infinite? His blade, a promise to an ancient fire, became the first fracture. The lands between did not rot, they asterisk remembered asterisk. A hunter's oath, once sacred, now haunts every soul who dares to dream. The scythe's glow dims, but its debt remains. And the moon presence waits, always waits. The age of gray gave birth to fire. The first flame split light from dark, life from death, a wound that bled eternity. Gehrman saw its glow and reached not for salvation, but for balance. His scythe, forged in that infernal forge, was no weapon. It was a vow, a covenant etched in runes that pulsed with the flame's hunger. He traded the hunter's blade for a conduit, binding his soul to a force that devours all it touches. They called him savior, they did not see the price. The runes were no markings, they were chains. Each swing of his scythe did not sever, it spread. The lands between, once whole, began to rot. The golden order's threads snapped like brittle twine. His protection became the rot's first breath. The trick weapons of others were blunt, harmless, but Gehrman's choice was precise. A hunter does not kill with noise. He kills with intent. What breaks a hero? Not the fall, but the weight of the thing he clings to as it consumes him. The flame did not grant balance. It granted hunger, and Gehrman's scythe is the hunger made manifest. The lands between now gasp, their bones creaking under the decay he unleashed. His name echoes whispered as both hymn and curse. The first hunter's oath was not broken, it was fulfilled, and the world withered. Beneath the Erd tree's golden haze lies a cathedral of ash and rusted gold. The scythe's runes pulse, syncopated with the first flame's last gasp. Shadows writhe serpents, then gods, then smoke. This is no weapon. This is a reaper's vow etched into the bones of the world. What does a hunter swear upon when the stars are dying? Gehrman chose the scythe, not a blade of war, but a sickle bound to the flame's dying breath. Its curve mirrors the arc of creation's undoing. Each swing shears not just flesh, but the threads of the first flame's design. The arena hums, gears of the astral clock tower grind above, moonlight bleeding through fractured cogs. Ash from the kiln's long extinguished fire drifts like forgotten prayers. Here the pact was sealed, the scythe's power grows as the flame wanes, a harvest of endings, no trick weapon. No divine forge, only a hunter's hunger mirrored in the flame's decay. The undifferentiated age returns not with chaos, but with silence. A void where light once wove the world whole. The scythe's edge glints, the first flame flickers, the arena waits. And all who lift the sickle legend or wretch carry the weight of an oath that reaps more than lives. It reaps time itself. The scythe's edge carves silence into the air. Each arc is a hymn, each rune a prayer. The first flame's breath pulses through the iron creation, decay, rebirth, but the light curdles, a slow rot. Gehrman's strikes are not acts of war, they are oaths renewed. the weapon's hunger is not his own. It is the flame's final whisper, a dirge for what it consumes. The runes glow, then blacken. Like veins of a dying star, the scythe's curve mirrors the flame's cycle, yet twists inward, a loop that devours itself. Gehrman wields it not to kill, but to bind, to channel the corruption he cannot escape. The lands between tremble not from his strength, but from the weight of his bargain. A hunter's tool, no. This is no weapon of flesh, it is a covenant etched in ash. The first hunter's hand meets the scythe's will, and the flame's poison seeps into his bones. Every swing etches his name deeper into the curse. The sickle that made him legend is the same that hollows those who follow. Their shadows stretch, thin and brittle, toward the flame's grave. The runes whisper now. Secrets of a pact sealed in the first age. Gehrman's scythe is no relic, it is a wound. A conduit for the dying god's last breath. And all who lift it feel the weight of that exhaleth moment, the flame's light turned to smoke. The runes on Gehrman's scythe ignite. A green haze floods the arena. The blade fractures each crack, a whisper of the pact's decay. This is no weapon, it is a seal, forged to chain the hunter's will to the first flame's rot. The golden light fades, the air thickens with the stench of dying fire. Gehrman's oath did not protect the lands between. It infected them. The first flame could be relinked, it could be let die, or it could be stolen by the dark. Instead, Gehrman chose a third path, to let the flame burn through every soul who dared carry his name. The scythe's edge is not steel, it is a threshold, a prison. The first flame's corruption does not end with Gehrman. It lives in every hunter who follows. Every strike against the shadows feeds the same hollow fire. The arena's light sickens. The music twists, Gehrman's voice breaks through the static. Asterisk, end your nightmare. Asterisk, not a command, a confession. The scythe's true purpose was never to fight, only to bind, to ensure the hunter's path would never end. Until the player's hands close around the weapon, until the cycle cracks, until the flame chooses its final fate. The scythe fractures, gold fire floods the chamber, a single truth etched in ash. Asterisk, the first flame's curse is eternal. Asterisk, Gehrman kneels. Not a hunter now, a conduit. The weapon's runes never fought decay. The asterisk became asterisk it. His oath bound the lands between to a loop of dying embers, each age a spark before the void returns. The Ashen One's choice, a lie. The flame demands not sacrifice but surrender. Every hunter who lifts a scythe repeats the pact. Their hands close on a curse, not a blade. The cycle does not end. It asterisk echoes asterisk. The golden fire fades. The chamber is stone, the inscription remains. A prophecy carved in failure. The first flame's hunger outlives its light. The lands between will fracture. New gods will rise. New oaths will shatter. Until the Ashen One stands at the precipice, not to break the cycle, but to answer its final question. What waits when the flame fades? Not darkness, not rebirth, an age without names, a return to the breath before creation. And Gehrman's scythe, a relic, a warning, the first echo of a hymn that will never cease. The scythe's edge is no blade but a covenant, a pact etched in ember and ash. Gehrman bound his breath to the first flame's dying pulse, forging a chain that would drag every hunter to the same abyss. To relincto reignite the flamies, to dance with a fire that consumes its dancers. To let it fade is to accept a dark that gnaws, not grants, to usurp. A theft of shadows, a lie told to time itself. His death was not defeat, it was a psalm. A first hunter's hymn, sung to the void between ages. The lands between are a ledger of choices, each scythe swing a signature on the debt. Gehrman's curse is clarity, the flame's hunger is no metaphor. It is a hunger that outlives kings, outdrinks the seas. The Ashen One stands where he stood. The path is not a road but a mirror. What fire will you feed? What name will you carve into the breath before creation? Gehrman's benediction is this: the cycle is not a circle. It is a wound, and you, dear Ashen, are the blade that keeps it open. The scythe's curve is no accident. It mirrors the arc of the first flame's decay, a weapon born of the same fire that forged the greatsword, the Estus flask, the very bones of the Erd tree. Gehrman did not choose it for its edge, he chose it for its hunger. The Ashen One wields a scythe. The tarnished bears a blade, The hunter's path is etched in the same rust that stains Gwyn's abandoned throne. Each age repeats the same pact, power traded for shadow. What is divinity but a wound that never clots? Gwyn's golden light became ash, Marika's stars fractured into scars. Gehrman's Scythe is their Echoa covenant written in the same ink as the Erd tree's roots. To cut is to bleed the cycle. To wield is to become its jailer. The scythe's whisper is not a promise. It is a requiem for all who dare to mend what fire cannot, and still the Ashen reaches. Still the path demands its due. The first flame's hunger is not in the fire. It is in the hand that feeds it. Gehrman's Scythe does not cut, it unmake, a pact written in ash, not blood. The runes along its curve hummed with the first flame's hunger until they crumbled to dust. What remains? A hollow echo of the oath he could not break. The lands between remember his plea, asterisk let me end your nightmare, asterisk a benediction laced with the same poison he drank. The hunter's path was never about killing demons. It was about feeding the void that gnaws at the flame's heart. His blade, his burden, his final gift, a scythe that reaps more than souls, it reaps time. The flame's shadow does not wane, it waits, and in that waiting, Gehrman's curse outlives even the end. The first to swear, the first to burn, the last to remember. The runes on Gehrman's scythe pulse like a dying star. Its curve did not carve flesh, it carved destiny. With each swing the first flames will split the lands between, reborn, extinguished, or twisted by shadow. The Ashen legacy is no gift, it is a debt. The tarnished carry its weight in ash and blood. What did Gehrman sacrifice to make the flame his blade?